My buddy from NFL Network, the NFL Media Group, Daniel Jeremiah, back here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, DJ?
I'm doing great, Rich. How are you doing, man?
I'm great. Best player on the field last night is fill in the blank.
I would say DeVonta Smith was the best player on the field, but I would say the running back didn't hurt himself either. Najee Harris was pretty fantastic as well.
So you know better than most, DJ, that the NFL values playmakers, and we see matchup nightmare playmakers make such a big difference. And DeVonta Smith clearly would be that, but he's not one of those big, tall, physical receivers. You normally don't see anybody, that's flirting with 6'1" and 200 pounds, chosen top 10 in the draft. Is that going to change this year? What do you think?
I think there's a chance he could go in the top 10, but I think he would be probably closer to the bottom of the top 10. When you mentioned it, I mean, when you look at guys historically, you're talking about the Larry Fitzgeralds, the Andre Johnsons, the Calvin Johnsons. Like, these guys are freaks that go up there. So, and this is the other argument that's going to be tough for DeVonta Smith in the room this year. Rich, look at this last year. Okay, I'm going to give you the receivers that were taken in the second round, and you tell me who's the bad player. It's T. Higgins, Michael Pittman, Laviska Shenault, K.J. Hamler, Chase Claypool, Van Jefferson, Denzel Mims. Find the bad player in that group.
So you're saying that teams can get extreme value at the position by not burning a first-round selection.
Correct.
On him, but I mean, you see,
if you need an offensive tackle,
yep,
and you need a receiver, you have to take the tackle before the receiver, because the drop off from the tackle group in tier 1 to tier 2 is always enormous. While the drop off, really, you could argue hasn't been much of one when you can get guys like Chase Claypool and Michael Pittman and T. Higgins in the second round.
So okay, so that's the evaluation of him. What about the evaluation of the quarterbacks from last night? What about those guys?
Yeah, well, let's start with the winner there in Mac Jones.
Yep.
Mac Jones is gonna challenge some thinking, because if you look at the quarterbacks that have been the younger guys, right? They all can move. They're all athletic, and they have to be able to get away from some trouble, because the offensive line play in the NFL is not great. So when you look at the quarterbacks that haven't had success, the younger guys, and look, different people, I get that. But when you look at Josh Rosen, not the most mobile guy. Dwayne Haskins, not the most mobile guy. That's been kind of the way the league is going. Mac Jones, not the greatest athlete in the world. But with how accurate he was, the decision-making, the processing speed, it was off the charts. So the good news for him, I think he's going to have a good shot to go in the first round. And the better news for him is it probably would be towards the back half of the first round, which would mean he'd go to a place with better football team,
right?
Better offensive line, more players. And when you look at the draft, I think, we know up to pick 24 now, Rich. So when you look at teams like Indianapolis at 21 and you look at Pittsburgh at 24, those, to me, make a lot of sense for somebody like Mac Jones from what we saw last night.
Right, and you also have the Jets sitting there at 23 with the Seahawks pick that they got in the Jamal Adams trade, but I want to put a pin in that in a second, unless you want to unpin it with the conversation with Justin Fields right now.
No, I think, look, the Jets, they have to make the decision if it's Sam or somebody else. To me, I know we've talked about this a little bit before about the potential of, maybe you take the quarterback with pick 23. Maybe you wait around there. To me, I think the decision will come down to it's either Sam or you're going to take one of those quarterbacks there at number 2, and the decision's going to come down to more than likely Justin Fields versus Zach Wilson. So that, to me, would be the decision there. Justin Fields played out of his mind in the Clemson game. Was more, didn't play as nearly as well last night against Alabama, but I saw in the pregame they said 95%. That he was 95% healthy. Do you buy that, Rich? He did not look like he was 95% healthy to me. I mean, he wasn't bad.
Right.
He played okay, but he did not look like he was 100% out there.
Well, what he was doing is going against the best competition he's seen all year. Trey Sermon going out pretty much damn near right away couldn't have helped at all. Yeah. But I guess the question is that if you let's give you the floor here. You have to make an evaluation. Yeah. Sam Darnold or Justin Fields. What do you do?
I'm going to go door number 3 and go Zach Wilson.
Okay.
To me, right now, and there's a lot more to do here, I would say Zach Wilson right now is ahead of Justin Fields as a player right now, in my opinion. Now, Justin Fields, there's more meat on the bone there. I think there's more growth potential and more upside. You're hoping for a Josh Allen type deal with him, where it's just you're going to get him, and every year he's going to get a little bit better, and his best is yet to come. But I think Zach Wilson is a better football player right now than Justin Fields is. So that to me is going to be a kind of a now or later type discussion in the draft room with those two guys.
Well,
and I would go fresh. To answer the Sam Darnold versus the draft guys, I'm hiring a new coach if you're the Jets, and I'm going to start the clock over with a new quarterback, and it's kind of ushering in hopefully a newer, more successful era of Jets football.
Well, in terms of that, too, Robert Saleh is being flown in for a second interview. Can you read how they and now Doug Pederson's available. And I saw your Twitter skirmishes of you saying how that's a great fit. And Joe Douglas is from the Eagles organization. They must know each other very well. What do you think about Pederson as being a fit with the Jets and how that would read into Darnold? I guess maybe Pederson will have had enough of trying to rehabilitate a top draft choice that the city is wondering if he's lost his touch. I wonder what you think about all that, Daniel.
Well, it's a lot to unpack, and I'm glad you brought it up, Rich, because as it turns out, Jets fans can be a little prickly on the old social media. They did not enjoy me referencing Doug Pederson, which and I try not to get involved in those skirmishes, Rich. I do my best to not get involved. But when people are comparing, we're going to hire another fired coach, just like we did with Adam Gase. I missed the time where Adam Gase won the Super Bowl in Miami. Maybe I fell asleep that year, but I don't recall him having that success that Doug Pederson had. So that's not comparable. All I was saying with Doug Pederson, I think two things. I think he's a good football coach. I don't think he forgot how to coach this year. It was a terrible year, no doubt. But I do think he's a good football coach, and I know that there's a good relationship there with him and Joe. They get along well, and they won a Super Bowl together. I'm not saying that jumps him to the front of the line. I'm not saying that he's a favorite. I'm saying that he's somebody that would be under consideration. It would stand to reason because of their history together. Robert Saleh, to me, man, Rich, if we go with the opposite theory, which is you always hire the opposite of who you just fired, that would point directly to Robert Saleh. You go from an offensive guy to a defensive guy. You go to somebody who's a little bit of a recluse to somebody who's a front of the room, chest out, energetic presence. I mean, he's literally like the polar opposite of Adam Gase in every way imaginable. So that, to me, makes a lot of sense for them potentially going in that direction. So I know he's up there for a second interview. There's 7 teams now looking for coaches. The Eagles are trying to set something up with Saleh. If they really, really feel like he's the guy, I think it'd probably be a smart move to get him locked in.
Daniel Jeremiah here on the Rich Eisen Show. I want to ask you, I forgot to ask you the last time you were here, but now I'll ask it here. Certainly since there was a lot of conversation last night involved from some parts of our world about Tua and how once again now he's no longer the darling of the Dolphins organization or anybody who knows anything about the NFL. Because Mac Jones looked the way that he looked, and it's been a while since we've seen Tua look that way, and the way that he got pulled twice for Fitzmagic, and the fact that, again, that Herbert has looked as well as he is, that this is over. We're calling this an over situation, certainly when you're comparing him to Herbert. Dolphins made a mistake. I even saw Pro Football Focus with a mock draft after last night saying that the Dolphins would take Justin Fields right now over Tua. What is your evaluation of Tua right now as a Dolphins quarterback and a quarterback in the NFL based on everything you're hearing?
I think everybody just needs to slow down. Like just slow down. Let's not turn this turn the jury card in here on this one. I mean, I think sometimes people think that because you played at a big program that you'd have less of an adjustment to the NFL. And I think sometimes it can actually work the opposite way. This is the first time in Tua's life. He was at a powerhouse program in Hawaii. He was at Alabama. It's the first time in his football career where he's had to line up and take a snap and look across the field where the guys on the other side are better than the guys he's got. It's the first time. So there's an adjustment period with that. And I think, you look at Mac Jones having success and people saying that discounts what Tua did. I don't necessarily buy that. I think they need to get some players around him, get some playmakers there in Miami, and then get, an offense there that can cut him loose a little bit. And I think he'll be fine. I think he's going to be a good player. I'm not ready to punt on him. Now, is he as physically gifted as Justin Herbert? No. And Justin Herbert has a commanding lead in that one. He can do things that Tua will never be able to do just because of his sheer size, arm strength, and athleticism. So if you want to say they made a mistake, they should have taken Justin Herbert, I think that's a fair conversation you can have and say what we've seen from Justin Herbert. I think you probably it definitely leans strongly in that being the correct answer. But I'm not going to make the leap and say this guy just can't play. He's not any good. I'm not doing that.
So I guess if you say that they need to upgrade the players around him, it's great that they've got the third overall selection. So let's just say that Trevor Lawrence goes where he goes and to the Jaguars, and the Jets do go quarterback. So it goes quarterback. Who do you think the Dolphins should take third overall with this in mind? Unless it's just best player available, screw it, we're going to throw somebody on defense, and that'll help out. What do you think the Dolphins do third overall as we're sitting here with college done? What do you think?
Well, I've talked about, receivers, how you can find them in the second round, and we talked about DeVonta Smith, and I think this is going to be the case this year, Rich, where you're going to have guys that you forgot existed because they didn't play this last year in the weird year that we were in. Mm-hmm. Let me just remind everybody, Jamar Chase, the last time we saw Jamar Chase, he caught 84 balls for 1,780 yards and 20 touchdowns, averaged 21.2 yards per catch. He's bigger, stronger, and faster than DeVonta Smith. He is a phenomenal player. And so when I'm talking about taking a receiver up there, I want somebody that has some of those freak qualities. That would qualify.
How about that? This is amazing. So what about Waddle?
It's going to be fun, man.
Yeah, no. What about Waddle? What's your evaluation of him and limping around last night pre-game and going? What do you think about that?
I sent somebody a text connected to the Alabama program and said, what are they doing with him out there? Get him off the field. Like, what is going on? And I got back that he met with whoever did the surgery was one of the most renowned doctors in the country, that he was, while it was a pain issue, there was not a stability issue. He was in no danger. He wanted to play. So I got kind of the defense of why he was out there, because I don't know how you are, but I'm watching this going, A, they don't need him. They're going to blow the doors off Ohio State without him. And he does not look like he's healthy out there. I just want to protect what's best for him and his future. And it sounded like that was, that had been cleared medically. And there's also a lot of talk that he could end up going back to Alabama, which is incredible because he's a phenomenal talent. He was nowhere near 100%. You could tell that last night. But when he's 100%, I know, I guess on underclassmen, I'm not allowed to say how high they would how high they would go. But I would say, Rich, he would definitely only need to pack one suit if he goes to Cleveland.
Well, my eye test, it looked like he was limping around, and then, we just showed while you were going through your take on screen, a host of NFL stars saying, what the hell's he doing out there? Sit down. I mean, Mahomes, with an exclamation point, retweeting Darius Leonard's take that he should not be playing, that you can't let him be out there. So I saw all that, and and that's just, again, it's a COVID-19 season. Kids are just gonna think that they're world beaters and that their opportunity may never come again. I don't know, and so there's a push-pull that clearly Waddle won and got out there, and as you said, he'll still be needing to only pack one suit for the draft. Okay, so I guess put it all in perspective. Now that the season is done and everything's going on, what do you think? Are you hearing what I'm hearing, that the combine is up in the air right now, Daniel, from your colleagues? Are you hearing that?
Yeah. Everybody's wait and see, right? Everybody's waiting to see. You hear rumors flying all over the place in terms of what it's going to look like. Is it going to happen? Is it going to be something that ends up getting kind of regionalized? Is it going to be totally canceled where we just rely on pro days? I've heard a lot of different, theories and takes here over the last couple of weeks. Hopefully we'll get an answer here pretty soon, Rich. But I know one thing. I've got, as we're talking here, I've got the tape open, and I got enough to keep me busy.
No, I'm sure. And then who's the kid from last night we haven't talked about? That's flashing. That's gonna. Is it?
Well, I mean, Barmore played really well. The defensive tackle for Alabama, Christian Barmore, who's one of those guys. When I studied him, he was a tough evaluation because he has some up and down tape. There's some games where he doesn't really do a whole lot, and then you see what you saw last night where he can completely dominate. So he's one. If he went to the combine, he'd probably put on a show with all the testing and how athletic he is. But he's been inconsistent. But man, if you're gonna pick and choose and be up and down, I guess you want to have your ups on the national championship stage. That's probably the time to do it.
DJ, you're the man. Thanks for the call. Really appreciate it. I'm gonna be reaching out to you quite a bit as we're now on the talent evaluation portion of the NFL calendar with college and for everybody but 8 teams. So thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
Just so you know, Rich, if something happens with the combine, I'll come up there and we can time you outside the studio if we have to.
Yeah, I know. I've got to have a plan B for that. We got to figure something out on that. But I appreciate that, Daniel, and you're always there for me, and I greatly appreciate it.
See you, boys.
Take care. That's Daniel Jeremiah at Move the Sticks. He and Bucky Brooks have a podcast by that name as well that you should check out. NFL Media Pod. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.